What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the Tasty Jamaica Kitchen. On the menu today, guys, we have some delicious Jamaican oxtail. And guys, I'm so excited to share my recipe with you because if you've ever been to a Jamaican restaurant, you know how stingy they can be with the gravy. And sometimes you don't even feel like you get enough meat. So let me go ahead and show you how to make my oxtail in your kitchen so that you can go back for seconds and add as much gravy as you want. Let's get to it, guys.
All right, my lovely people, so here you have it, some nice oxtails. I went ahead and rinsed them off in some lemon juice and vinegar. That's a must step. You gotta rinse off your oxtails because clean meat is the basis of what makes your food delicious. All right, so here I have it. So I like to use the one with the exposed bone marrow. You see that bone marrow, how it's exposed? That means that's gonna come off in your stew. It's just gonna release its juices into your stew, and trust me, you want to have that. You know, sometimes they have them thicker oxtails. You want to avoid that. You want to get the ones that sliced with the marrow exposed. Trust me, makes a world of a difference. All right, here I have some garlic powder that I sprinkled onto the meat. I also have my Maggi season up. Love me some Maggi season up. This is the all-purpose kind. We're using this on our oxtails today. It's gonna make it so delicious. Great Jamaican flavors here. All right, and of course we gotta add some salt. Salt just pops the flavor in what you're making. Anything that you're making, you add some salt in there, it just brings up the flavor. It's amazing. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and mix this in. All right, so we just want to go in with a glove. You could use a glove. I just like to use a glove because it prevents your hand from just getting all that seasoning on there. You just get to rub in the seasonings well. All right, you don't want to use a spoon for this because you want each piece of oxtail to be perfectly coated. All right, and now we're at the stove. I'm going to add some oil to the pot. Not too much oil here. We want to just add enough to get that meat seared off and the fats rendered out. All right, so here we have our oxtails. I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the pan one by one. Now, don't overcrowd your pot. Don't add all the pieces of oxtails into the pot. All right, you want to add just enough pieces where each has its own space in the pan, not packed on top of each other, because you want them to get an even sear. All right, and the reason why we're searing this is because you see that fatty part right there. You want to sear that off. Now, I know some people will cut those off and discard of them. I like to use them because that will release nice flavors into the pan, and that also gives good oils. That is so nice because that's just naturally from the oxtails itself. That will give you that nice good flavor. All right, so once you sear one side, just go ahead and flip them. All right, so the other side could sear. All right, and I like to do this step because when you sear it, you get that nice texture on the oxtail, and it also gives it that nice flavor. All right, so here I'm just removing the oxtail pieces from the pan, and I'm just gonna add some more pieces in. So while I'm removing, I'm putting in, because I'm using the same bowl that I used to season the oxtail in. You know, we're trying to make our life easy over here. We don't want to make everything dirty in the kitchen, and we got to be washing dishes. All right, so just add your oxtails, remove as you go, and just continue this process until your oxtails are nice and seared. And those little parts right there are my favorite. You just put one of those little pieces in your mouth and all the meat just fall off in your mouth off the bone. And then now, once all the oxtails are seared off, we're gonna go ahead and return all of them to the pot because we want to get them nice and tender. All right, so now we're gonna add some water in the pot and just get that all distributed evenly in the pot, so that everything could tenderize. And then you just cover your pot. It's gonna be so good, guys. All right, so it's been about half hour now. We're gonna go ahead and check on our meat. So see that stew developing? It's not quite there yet. It needs some time. All right, so just check on your oxtail periodically and add water as you go. But right now we're gonna add some green seasoning. And if you're not familiar with what green seasoning is, it's a blend of natural herbs. I have a video up on my channel. I highly recommend you check it out. It's so simple, and this just adds this X factor to your dish that you need. All right, you also want to use hot boiling water. You don't want to use just regular tap water. You want to boil some water because that is gonna keep the bubbling going. You see that bubbling going? Yes, which makes your meat stay in the tenderizing process. It doesn't slow it down. All right, so that's why we use hot water. You're just gonna cover that down and just let it rock. All right, so it's been about an hour now. We're gonna go ahead and check in on the meat. So you see how the meat is falling off the bone? Yes, that's what you want to have. So you just check it with a fork. All right, so now we're almost done because you see the fork is going through the meat. It has a little more way to go, but it's almost done. All right, because we have the thinner cut of oxtail, so this is not going to take too long to cook. When you get the thick one, it takes way longer. All right, so right here I'm adding in some allspice berries that I pounded out because y'all know I don't like crunching on them. And I'm adding my finishing seasonings. Here is some bell pepper, onion, tomato, scallion, and thyme. Scallion, also known as green onion, if you know it as that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just evenly distribute these over our meat so that they could just bring their flavors into our pot here. All right, so you want to add a generous amount of these fresh herbs because you don't want to skim on these, guys. These are what amps up the flavor of the oxtail. All right, everything works together in harmony and make everything just so delicious. All right, so do everything that I'm doing here, guys, and I guarantee you your pot is gonna be delicious. All right, here I have some browning. We like to use browning in our oxtail because we want it to have a pop of color. All right, we all eat with our eyes, so it's important to make our eyes delightful because that's connected to your brain, which is connected to your taste buds, and it's just so exciting. All right, so get your browning in there. All right, and I like to add some hot water over that just so that, the browning can get distributed evenly over the meat. All right, so that's what we're doing here. Just add some more hot water, not too much, because again, we're almost done cooking this and we don't want our meat to fall off in the pot. We want it to fall off the bone in our mouths. All right, so you want to cook it just right so that it's nice and tender. And you just want to amp up this flavor some more, even more. Here is a Maggi bouillon cube. All right, love me some Maggi bouillon cube. Maggi all around is my seasoning. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit more browning, and the Maggi bouillon cube there just adds that beef flavor because it's a beef bouillon cube. All right, I hope I'm saying that right. That's how I say it. But yeah, you're gonna add that in and it's gonna dissolve by itself. All right, so even though that's a little block, it's gonna dissolve by itself. Just make sure that you stir your pot so that it's evenly distributed in the pot. All right, we're also gonna add some ketchup to this because ketchup and stew works great together. All right, so alongside with the tomatoes, we want to go ahead and add some ketchup in. All right, so don't make it too ketchupy. Like, you don't want to add too much ketchup because you don't want it to just taste like ketchup, but just the right amount, just a little amount over it is perfect. All right, and then you're gonna mix that around and get your oxtails all nice and submerged in that sauce. So you see the sauce building, you see that nice brown gravy forming. That's all natural stuff. We prepared that from scratch. And yes, guys, I'm sharing everything with you. You don't have to go to the store to buy no oxtail seasoning. You could create your own stew from scratch. All right, and just cover down your pot and just let that stew down. All right, so here we have it, guys. Give your pot a stir. Just check on your pot. Look at that stew. Look at that stew forming. Look at that oxtail. Look at that. Nice, delicious oxtail tenderizing. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and add some butter beans because like I said, we're almost there. All right, I went ahead and rinsed off my butter beans with some water. I just put it in a strainer and rinse it under the pipe because I don't like that beanness. All right, so I like to rinse it off. Like the canniness in the bean, it just doesn't work, so you got to rinse it off. Some beans though, like Goya, you don't have to rinse because I feel like the bean is more mashed out and it's in a different type of thing. It's not just in water, like it's just different. So if you're using that one, use your discretion. If it's like just stewed in the can, then you don't have to rinse it. But if it's sitting in this water, then rinse it. All right, here I have butter. It's a small amount. I like to add butter. Butter makes everything just more delicious, and why not? We're trying to make delicious goodness here. All right, so just incorporate your butter in, your butter beans, all of that. That stew is coming along nicely. All right, so all we really have to do now is just simmer it down and we're ready to eat. And you could have this with rice and peas, white rice, dumpling and banana with some yam, anything you choose, guys. You could have that with your oxtail. So versatile. All done now, guys. Look at that oxtail, bubbling, sizzling, nice, delicious juiciness. All right, look at that oxtail, guys. If you love what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Comment down below if you try this recipe and let me know what everybody else thinks about this. Look at that oxtail. Look at that stew. We made that from scratch, guys, and you can too. Yes, guys, I wanted to make it nice and simple for y'all so you can recreate this dish. You don't got to go to the restaurant to get this oxtail. You can get as much oxtail as you want because it's in your pot. Enjoy, guys.